This is spEarz to the streets. 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 This to the streets, to the streets, to the spEarz to the streets. This is spEarz to the streets. Get down to the beat, or get beat down in the street.
Having lost the NJPW Strong title earlier this year in a triple threat match, once again the odds are firmly stacked against Mercedes Moné as she defended her TBS title at Forbidden Door 4 in a tentatively titled Fatal 4-Way matchup. Representatives from CMLL, Persephone, and Stardom, Bozilla, joined Alex Windsor to see if they could take the title off Moné, but instead the match turned into a desperate effort of survival against Bozilla, who dominated the match with her size and strength. As Megan Bayne before her, it confounds me to even think about how the rest of the Stardom roster could even go toe-to-toe with a woman like Bozilla, whose Western makeup puts her far outside of the weight class of the average Joshi wrestler. Mercedes had that issue as well here, since she has petite characteristics herself, so she spent the match cowering when faced with the task of felling Bozilla, while Persephone and Windsor did the heavy lifting. Windsor had this crazy stacked suplex spot out the corner of the ring, which was able to take Bozilla out for a while and almost took Windsor's knee and back out in the process. But adrenaline is a hell of a chemical, because Windsor didn't seem affected by this spot too much throughout the remainder of the contest. Persephone's spots featured a grade A choke slam, a razor's edge, and even a spear. Big moves that only a student of the Attitude Era could master, while Moné was pulling out stacked big statements after Windsor performed a stacked sharpshooter broken up by Bozilla, a top rope meteora, and escaping power moves of Hurricane Ranas. One such counter was applied when Persephone overextended a razor's edge attempt on Moné, allowing the champion to retain and walk out of Forbidden Door 9 titles strong. Though Moné walked in with the Royal Guard, her performance at Forbidden Door 4 wasn't worthy of a crown. This match instead had Moné looking out of place against much larger opponents and was more of a showcase for her contenders than a true test of Moné. Persephone took the pin, and for the second cross-promotional event in a row, Wrestle Dynasty back in January respectfully, I found myself rooting for Persephone again, despite my affinity for Moné. So, for arguably the most technical workhorse to take the pin in this title match was a travesty. Worse than if Moné would have dropped the TBS title here because, hey, a grudge match between the two at CMLL for Moné's current CMLL world title would be far more exciting to naturalize the Amazonas for US audiences than dragging La Catalina back across the border just to take another pin in a ROH ring. I understand building up NJPW and AEW talent at their own event, so that's why Bozilla and Windsor most likely weren't selected to be covered. But Windsor has mid-card written all over her. I've seen better get buried before in their own home.
This is spEarz to the streets. 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 This is to the streets, to the streets, to the spEarz to the streets. spEarz to the. This is spEarz to the streets. Get down to the beat, or get beat down in the street.